Hello friend, I want to tell you about the Mazda CX-3 car. What engines were installed? The engines also underwent changes during the facelift. A new addition in 2018 was a 1.8-liter diesel engine, which replaced the smaller 1.5-liter unit. The 2.0 petrol engine underwent only cosmetic technical changes, which were intended to adapt it to a higher emission standard. Thanks to its naturally aspirated design and large capacity, it did not need a particulate filter. Similarly to the diesel, it did not need an SCR system with AdBlue fluid to clean exhaust fumes from nitrogen oxides. The characteristic feature of the CX-3 model, like many other Mazda models, is its moderate performance. The petrol variant generating 120, 121 or 150 HP is the only one that can be called quite dynamic, but it has to be revved up to high revs. It needs less than 10 seconds to accelerate to 100 km per hour with an automatic gearbox and just under 9 seconds with a manual. The difference between 150 HP and 120 HP is hardly noticeable because the 150 HP version has standard four-wheel drive, which takes away some of the dynamics. Diesels are simply sufficient, although not for everyone. The early 1.5 develops 105 hydrogen phosphide, and the later 1.8 only 115 HP. Interestingly, the torque is the same for both engines and is 270 Nm. Both diesels were combined with automatic or manual transmissions, as well as optional AWD drive. Despite the subjective feeling of better dynamics, the diesel has clearly worse performance than the petrol. Which engine to choose? In my opinion, the choice should be based primarily on fuel preferences. Diesels burn less, and the king of savings is of course the older one with a manual gearbox. Getting below 5L100 km is no problem. A larger diesel will burn just over 5L100 km, while in petrols, you should expect fuel consumption of around 7 to 8L100 km. With an automatic, you have to add about a liter to these results. The AWD drive will not have a significant impact on the results. If you like the fuel consumption of a petrol engine, then there is no need to think any further. The 2.0 variant is the most reliable source of power, and the engine itself is already very well known to mechanics from independent workshops. For them, Mazda diesels are still inventions and will remain so for a long time. Looking at the potential costs of repairs, diesels will be much more expensive, although you can buy parts for petrol engines mainly at ASO. I would only recommend diesel to people who absolutely want such an engine or are indifferent, and can find a nice one at a good price. Otherwise, I advise you to go for petrol units. Manual or automatic, of course, it all depends on your preferences, but if you don't care, I would recommend manual. It's a fantastic transmission with a great gear change mechanism. It works lightly and is extremely precise. In addition, a car with manual burns less fuel. The automatic is a typical design with a torque converter and a lockup converter designed by Mazda. It has 6 gears and works efficiently, but not particularly quickly. It is a very good choice for those who do not like changing gears, although they can because there is a manual mode. Front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive? If you really don't need four-wheel drive, then pass on this solution. It's efficient and fail-safe. But why complicate a simple car? More moving parts, more places where play or vibration can occur, more oil to change. The AWD drive in the Mazda CX-3 works quickly and responds to the first signals from the wheel speed and overload sensors without waiting for real slippage of the front axle. It's worse with the traction control blocking of individual wheels. This is symbolic, so don't count on off-road qualities and rather overcome obstacles with momentum and gas than technically. Typical faults: the Mazda CX-3 enjoys a reputation for being a failure-free car that doesn't cause any serious problems. Unfortunately, it has a reputation for being delicate in terms of bodywork, just like other models. And these are facts. The thin paint coating is very delicate and not resistant to even minor abrasions or pebbles. In addition, it is hard to find solid protection against corrosion on the chassis. What is worse, the elements of the casing can corrode, especially the wheel arches, which were mounted on double-sided tape. When you see a peeled-off wheel arch and tape underneath, it does not have to be the hand of a dealer. Users wonder what is hidden under the plastic wheel arches and prefer not to look there. After purchase, it is worth taking the car for maintenance, quite rarely, but also repetitively. Minor electrical problems occur, e.g. with the fuel gauge or the operation of the mirror folding mechanism. Usually they go away on their own. Users occasionally complain about knocking in the area of the front suspension and momentary resistance on the steering wheel. This is a manufacturing defect, and it concerns not the suspension itself but the steering column. Some people manage to replace it under warranty or as a gesture for a regular customer, but you have to be aware that the cost of such a replacement is expensive. Overall, the Mazda CX-3 is mechanically well made, so in this respect it is 100% Japanese and will not cause you any problems. You only need to watch out for models from the US, which may have been flooded and electrical problems may occur more often in them. If you want to buy such a car, it is worth checking its history carefully. Thank you for listening to me. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know of any problems with this car that I did not mention, be sure to write about them in the comments.